Hello? All right. We're back with another edition of Will I Fuck Up a $3,000 Console? Today's episode, we are going to map the capacitors and hopefully replace them. So, unfortunately, with this thing, there is a capacitor map available. It's a little wonky to read. I think I got a good handle on it. But just because I really only kind of get one shot at this, I'm going to just manually map out all the capacitors that I can. And at that point, I can at least be sure I have everything right. Because once you take them off, it's going to be real hard to figure out what went where. So better to just, take my time with this one. And since the electrolytic caps write their capacities or capacitance values and voltage values on the capacitor itself, it's pretty easy just to verify that, for instance, these are supposed to be, let's pull up my sheet real quick. These are supposed to be 1 microfarad 50 volt caps. It would be these two right here, and then this guy back here. So, now what we got to basically do is I'm going to pull back up. Well, I guess I don't need to pull that up anymore. Probably going to lose chat here, but we got to get the microscope going. Make sure we got that going good here. My cat is going absolutely freaking bonkers right now. Let's get some manual focus off. And we're going to pull down to here, and as we can see, now this is what is not making sense to me. So let's just take a look real quick. Get that focused? Okay. So as I said, these are supposed to be 1 microfarad caps, but if I'm reading this right, that's actually 33. And yeah. Okay, so I know, see, and that's what's wrong about this freaking color code. So these are 33 microfarad and 10 amp. So, and let's see if I can maybe, I don't know if I can share this or not. Do I still have the window capture? Screen capture. So let's do this. I'm gonna do window paint. Okay. So let's see if this is actually up on the stream now. Does not seem like it is. Oh, wait, I gotta do this. Yeah, it's not showing up for you guys, is it? Huh. You could see all the... Let's try one more thing real quick. Huh. Do that, gets my Discord. Go back to paint. It's still not happy, huh? Doesn't like paint for some reason. What about this? Alright, so on this we could possibly see it's not really coming through for you guys, is it? Let's just do it like this. Okay, so you can see what I'm working with here. So it's hard for y'all to see, but you got these color codes up top, and then all this at the bottom. And so this is the 33 microfarad, which is this dark green. But you can see how kind of the colors aren't a perfect match. And then up top we got a much lighter green, which I'm thinking is supposed to be... I don't actually know where this one is. I haven't been able to find it. That's what made me want to do this, because I just don't know what is what. And to me, that's just not good. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to go and mark all of these by hand and make a crappy little paint document. And that way, once I do that, Let's just save this as PNG. We're going to call this LT cap map. Save you on the desktop. Oh, is that not an option? There it is. Okay. Save you on the dock. So let's do that, and let's see if maybe. So if I go here. So that's still not working, but if I pull up, let's see if this will work now. So we got you. No, I don't need that. I need you to open in Paint. Open with Paint. Okay, so now what if I come back into Discord, or not Discord, OBS, see if I can pull you up. Still the same thing. It just doesn't want to. Yeah, it's just a blank screen for some reason. I don't know why. It's like that. Okay, well, that's not going to work, so screw that. I guess, here. Well, that works. What if I did that? Okay. That's not so on screen for you. Wonder if I need to take off the microscope. Alright, so now you got OBS. But now Paint? Alright, well, I still don't think that's going to work. Enough fun with that. Let's just get back to the microscope. And I will just record this by hand. So as you can see, we are dealing with the general problems of old capacitors. And all this brown stuff is leaked juice and has obviously leaked to the pins. So we're going to have to come through and clean that up. But before I do all that, like I said, I'm going to just mark my capacitor map, so to speak. And that way, when I have this all done, I can pull all the caps off and I can know that, you know, these are letter A, and letter A is 33 microfarad, 10 volt or more. And I can go into my lovely little bag of tricks, find the right cap, and move on. So let's just go ahead and start doing that. So to start, I am going to have to come in here, and these are obviously going to be 33, so they're F. So I'm going to create some yellow lines here, do this, do this, do this, then do this, and I could say that this one is F. So I could scroll over to this guy now. It should be the same. So we're going to scroll over to this guy right here, and we can see that it is also, in fact, F. And so we're just going to go ahead and drag you down like that. And anyone out there does need this capacitor map, I will figure out some way to make it available, even if I just have to email it to you. Most likely I'll post this in the Retro 6 Discord as well. Okay, so this lavender looking one is supposed to be I do believe a 220 microfarad 10 volt. Now the problem with this guy, obviously I can't. So we're back to, so the big fat black one in the middle here is a through hole capacitor. Unfortunately, they do write the values on the side of these. I think right there is what I'm looking for. Let's get this back into an autofocus, and that way I can maybe get a good look at it. Might have to move my microscope up a little bit. It's not. There we go. As we can see, that is a 220 10 volt. Okay. So now I gotta scroll back up, and the 220 10 volt is letter L. So this guy is going to be also letter L. Okay. And now my cat has decided she wants to hang out on my shoulder and say hello to y'all. What are you doing, Loki? She is starving for attention today for some reason. Sweet little girl. Okay. So now we've got some orange ones, right? So according to my capacitor map, the orange should be 100 microfarads, 6.3 volts. My cat is literally chewing on my head right now. And I am seeing 100 microfarad and 6.3 volts. So I think what we can do is we're going to do this, do this, do this, and this. And that would be I. I might have to change the color on that one, but ow, why are you biting me? I changed it to a, oh, I gotta highlight it. See, that's weird. Okay, let's try that again. Maybe just do a lowercase I because that's a little bit more recognizable. Okay, perfect. All right, so these two and these three we've got marked. These two, and then I've got one right up here by this crystal. Yeah, you can see 100 microfarad. God, you could see, like, look at all of this fluid in the area. This whole board is just covered. Of course, it's now freaking out. So I'm gonna grab and turn off my autofocus here. wish I could show y'all my little buddy just hanging out with me, but unfortunately my cameras won't allow me to capture that. It's a little rough having a cat on my shoulder right now, but we'll make do. All right, so let's get over to this cluster right here, which is with a variable resistor. So you can see, once again, these are two of the orange ones that we just did. So I think we'll just basically kind of just, let's go back to the yellow. I like the yellow. Do this, and this will be I. No, you are not jumping on the table. Okay. Just trying to do an orange just because you're easier to see. Oh shit, not want to do that. So we're going to do this again. I know this is kind of boring for y'all because you really can't see what I'm doing here. The issue is I'm trying to find a good contrast so that I could clearly see the letter. But we'll take a look at it at the end. Maybe I'll be able to show that. But hopefully we'll also have the color of the capacitors, and it's also now marked on other sides. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to back to yellow. This is going to be another I. Okay. Okay, so this cap right here is a 10 microfarad 16 volt. That's a yellow. So let me scroll up here. 10 microfarad 16. That's the only one on the board. That's a C. This one's C. So I know we're going to be matching our values there. Let's change that. Go to U. Is that going to... Yeah, see. I guess we are going to have to zoom in on this a little bit. Let's maybe go back and redo. Actually, no wonder. Wonder if that's the way we got to do it. Like if I not do that, but go to selection, just copy this out, cut it. And L. Drag you up, move you over. Now I wonder, let's zoom out, a little bit easier to see. Okay, so over here, I'll do the same thing. Just kind of cut this out. Redo these eyes. My eyes are not the greatest, so it's just anything I can do to kind of make it easier on myself I'm going to do. Something like that's fine. The same thing up here. Cut this out. this one is the only, so that is going to be a C. This one's a C. So the metal shielding that's in this image makes it pretty hard to see things because of the reflections. So I'm kind of hoping if I snip it out, it'll kind of mitigate that a little bit. Things are a little blurry. Okay. Let me go just check OBS and make sure I'm not ignoring people. Dappa Dappa. I knew I was going to miss something. What's going on, man? I'm so sorry if I missed your chat. I am kind of not able to pay attention to chat right now and do the work that I'm doing. So we can see that these two caps are 47 and probably 6.3. So 47 microfarad and 6.3. Let's go take a look at my file here. We're going to just save our work just in case. Okay, drop back to the line. So these two blues, 47, 6.3. So they are G's. So we're going to connect this guy to this guy, and then this guy out here. Then we're going to cut a chunk out and make a G. Okay, and then I've got this one red one, right? Oh, there's two caps. Oh, no, just the one. Right, because we've got these two are I's, that's a C, that's a G, that's a 22, is that a 6? This guy right here, I think that's a 6. 22 microfarad 6. I got two of those on the board, and that's a D. This one's a D. So I think on this one I can just go off to the right here. Change that to yellow. Then we're going to do yellow text as well, just because it shows up pretty good on the black. That is a D, I just stated. Squish you up, move you up. Oh, nope, not what I wanted to do. Okay. Let's move you closer and up. That is a D. I need to make sure. I think I got that right? Yeah, D's the red, 22, 6.3. Okay, so we've got the left and the middle. And now we're going to work on this bottom right corner where I've already identified one. That guy right there should be identified, and I need to move up just to this cluster right here. That through hole might be a pain in the butt, but we'll get it. We'll figure it out somehow, even if I've got to wait. So that one looks like a 3.3 50 amp. Yeah, and they're gray, and on my little map here, the 3.3 50 amps are letter B, and I've got 5 of them on the board. Okay, so I think we're going to come down and do that. Come down here, like so. Okay. And what did I say? They're B? I think I said they were B, right? They are B. So once again, we're going to just snip out a section of the board here. image, that might be a little bit more readable. Okay, and now we're just basically going to read these next two and just go straight up with my lines. So turn you yellow. And then this one should be another. To the side on that one. So this guy is the aluminum, so I'm going to have to do what I did before probably and get autofocus going again. Now, supposedly, if is it the same as this guy down here? No, it's not. So that's a red. So I think this one's a 226.3. That'll be letter K. So let me get the autofocus going again real quick. And we'll just take a look. See, I see 206.3, but it's cut off, so yeah, it's just, it is literally just barely cut off. God dang, that sucks. I don't think it's written anywhere else either. Yeah, 6.3, and they cut it off. And it is not written anywhere else on this. So I'm going to assume that the K designation is correct on this one. Okay. So this guy is going to be 226.3, which should be K. I've got two of them on the board. Now the other one's up top here by this guy right here is also supposed to be another. So if we just take a look at it, I'm sure it's going to give us the same headache, isn't it? Nope. As we can see, that one actually has it on there, 226.3. They are the same size, so I was correct. This is a letter K. Very cool. All right, so we're going to go mark that off on my little sheet here. That's a letter K. And then the one next to it, 3350 amp, which I think is a G. No? Three point 3.350 amp. That's a little weird. That wants to tell me it should be a gray one, and on my, oh wait, it is. That's the one right next to it I'm looking at. That's a 47.6, which is, in fact, a G. Oh God, woo! I already had that one marked. So this one, what I was looking at. I need to be looking at this one, and that is a G. Which again, folks, this is exactly kind of why I'm doing this, so that when I actually go to do this work, I can just look at these freaking letters and go up and not have to really care. If I move that down just a bit here. Okay. So that, thankfully, should be that part of the board mapped, and we're just going to go straight up. And we have the section right by the power jack, which is right here. I'm checking here. No new messages. All right, we'll just go right to left. So that looks to be the 1 microfarad 50 amp, which I think is the letter A, which this one really looks like. Okay, well, I guess that makes sense. So we'll just go ahead and mark this as an A. Oops, I can't. I need to reposition before I close that. Just like so. So we're going to do the red one right next to it, which should be a D. And D is listed as 22 microfarad, 6.3 volts, which we have. So basically, I think to make my life easier, since I already have that one kind of mapped somewhere else, I can go and just link the lines like that. And then these two right here can get linked. And these should be so I'm looking at these two, which are the 350s, which I should have marked as letter B's. Yes, sir, they are letter B's. Okay. Then we're going to do this. Oh, this guy we said was the red one, which is letter K. Yeah, so we already know this one's a letter K. So this guy is a letter K. So we'll just pop you up like this. Do like that. Go OK. Pull you up and over. Okay, so now I've got this orange one, which is 106.3. And 106.3 is letter I. So this guy right here is letter I. So let's just go ahead and just straight up my image. Do letter I. Okay, so now we're on to basically our final section, which is going to be to the left of the extension port. I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. Let's just do this. All right. So, as you can see, this area is also highly coated in goo. Barely see, actually. Yeah, this one's gonna need some love and attention, I'm guessing. Highly gooed. Yeah, this guy right here is a very, very, very important part that I hope is still okay. This T500 transformer potentially does not have a modern replacement, so really hope that it's okay. We could see this little transistor right here. Is pretty beat up. Got some corroded vias in the area. So this section's not really looking good, and if I'm remembering right, this is kind of what helps drive the contrast circuit. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do in here now. Man, I'm gonna have to like basically just soak this board in alcohol, I think, because extension port looks a little gooey for my tastes. And I really, really, really don't want to have to desolder that, but I might have to. And again, I might also just clean it with some dental, like gum brushes or something like that. Okay, anyway, let's stop and start looking. So, on the capacitor map, I have this one listed as, I think this is going to be a 470 16 volt. So let's just take a look. Gotta get the autofocus going again. Of course, it's not on the easy side. Okay, so can't really tell, and I can't really bend it either. Let's take a look over here. So I think I just saw 16. 470 16. Yep, okay. So let's get that focused again. So this cap here and then this cap here should be 470 16s, which is letter M for me. So if I do this and this, nice good old letter M here. Okay, that should be good for me. Now the one right next to it, this guy is a purplish color, and I think this is going to be a 100 microfarad 35 volt. And again, it is this guy right here, so we've got to do the same thing, just kind of manipulate the board until we find the proper values. 35 volt, 100 microfarad, I was correct, and that is a J. So this guy, we will put out this way, and then do a J. Okay. Just a little bit closer. Perfect. All right, so now we have two left, it looks like. So this guy right here, I have to say 2235, and 2235 is E, and it is the only one on the board. So we will just come down here and go like this. Okay, I wish I could share my screen so y'all could see what I'm rambling on about, but it's really just me drawing lines from the capacitor and marking it. Now, is that a cap right there? I think it is next to the T500. That's a gray one, which, yeah, 3350, which, what was that? The gray ones were B's at 3350. Let's save our work just in case. And then I have B at 3350. 3350. So, yes, sir. This is indeed a letter B. And then this last top one, I have 4716. 4716 is a letter H and is the only one on the board. Metro H. All right, cool. So I think once I save and zoom out of this file, I think that should conclude the capacitor mapping. I don't think there's anyone on here that I missed. All right. Yep, looking good. Okay. Very, very, very cool. So, hey, Mr. West Shavel. Yeah, my buddy's watching that Alabama game right now. What's the best way to clean electronic boards? Well, that really depends. Probably the most commonly used method is going to be an ultrasonic cleaner with ultrasonic cleaning solution. Otherwise, just some 99% isopropyl alcohol will get you through most of your cleans. And if you really need to, something like deoxit or an electrical contact cleaner to clean up oxidized solder joints is another handy tool to have in your bench. But for most things, a nice soft bristled toothbrush and some IPA, like for instance, this whole area, you can see how this whole area up here is just really kind of gross, and I would clean that with just some alcohol, toothbrush, and then a clean cotton bud to kind of grab everything off the board. That's kind of how I approach most things. But for really, really corrosive stuff, or if you have one, the best way would probably be an ultrasonic cleaner. And sorry for not paying attention to chat, guys, but I was kind of buried head deeps into a paint file, making a capacitor map so that when I pull all these caps off and go to replace them, I'll know exactly where I need to look. Okay, so now begins the fun part. Now I got to remove these sons of bitches. And because of the way these things are packed in here, it is going to be not so fun. So let's just start. I think we're going to start with this corner up here. I felt like I just bent my power lid. Weird. Anyway, let's go ahead and who's winning the Alabama game there, Wes? You have any updates? Okay, so this one's going to be not too bad. So what I like to do is I use a pair of tin snips, and I'm going to probably just orient this board just a little bit better. And then we can see pad, and I like to cut parallel to those pads. Now I also put my finger on top to kind of keep things from wiggling around. Just very methodically cut my way through the cap. Let me go toss this. Well, it should be all right. Then grab a pair of tweezers here, and I might just end up using we can try to. No, I'm gonna have to just keep using the snips. And you just kind of. The rest of it should come off pretty easy. And let's grab it and toss it. Now in here. Okay, you gotta be careful of those little metal nubs because you don't want to lose them. Because if they end up on your board, they will end up shorting things out. Now for the plastic, it's pretty brittle, so it doesn't lift right off. You can kind of just crack it off, but I think I got enough of those legs off where I can just, yeah, and you can see all that goop. So for obviously for the through hole ones, we're just gonna desolder them. In fact, I'm probably gonna go ahead and desolder them now because it make my life a lot easier here. Now, what tip do I have on you? I got the good one. All right. So we're in this section. That would mean that this guy is this cap. Okay. So let's see here. Just kind of look at you. Better focus for y'all. And I'm going to just basically probably just use some solder braid to try to pull these up because through hole stuff isn't that difficult. And we'll see how we do, and if I need to use a solder sucker or something else, I will. But for the most part, I generally have pretty good luck with braid here. Now, might actually, let's go ahead and I think we're just going to tap these with a little bit of fresh solder. Might have to clean and, yeah, you can see like it's not really, there we go. Same thing, this down here, we're just going to add a good chunk of some fresh solder. The reason I do that is because excuse me, with all the corrosion and stuff that can happen, let's use it maybe a chunkier braid as well. Sometimes the solder doesn't want to wet, but the fresh leaded solder will help things kind of just flow. See how that kind of all just flowed much nicer? I'm just going to have to reposition this a little bit, I think. Might need to clean here. Yeah, see, I lifted that fucking trace up a little bit. It's kind of what I was afraid of. That's not a big deal because thankfully I can just quite literally just jump it if I need to, but oh no, don't tell me I just lifted off a component there. I don't think I did, but I think I did. Shit. Let's just take a look at my braid here real fast. Thankfully, I've got a pretty good shot of that board. I don't think I lifted it off. See these pads right there? That make no, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay there. I think that might actually be the other capacitor, but could be wrong. But we can see this via just kind of lifted up on me for some reason. Not a huge deal, but let's get some fresh braid. Some skinnier fresh braid here. Might end up having to do the solder sucker on this one, but okay. I still think I've got some stuck to this. It does feel a little, still pretty solid there, so we're gonna just maybe be very gentle on this side here. Clean this up a little bit so I can see what I'm working with. Trying to be very, very careful. That one trace is a little fragile on that left-hand side, but Just helps me see a little bit going, how much solder I got left in the through holes and whatnot. We could still see, yeah, we could still, if we just kind of just, yeah, you can see like how that's not moving at all, and neither is that. Sometimes if you get lucky, you might just hit this with some hot air and see if it drops out. Could also just use the solder sucker and see if that'll get the rest of it, but just trying to very gently spend too much time, because that's actually also another reason why I am struggling so much with my vias. My temperature is pretty high, so let's hit that fall back down to 370. Oof, yeah, you can see this whole area of the board is still pretty gross. I really wish I had an ultrasonic cleaner. In fact, I might end up just getting one. But I'm going to hit all this with some good contact cleaner, some deoxit. Alright, so let's just go ahead and maybe zoom in a little bit here. Give me better idea of what I'm working with, but you could see what I was talking about, how that left hand via is just a little fragile right now. So I'm trying to not put too much heat or pressure on this. But the issue is that I think the board is so corroded that doesn't want to come up. Can I maybe grab the tip of this and do the same? What's my finer tweezers? Might be able to do that. I don't think so, though. No, I don't really want to keep mucking with it too much here. So if I can get one leg out, I might just be able to snip the other one and then clean up the through hole. Let's see here. So we got that. Yeah, we can still see the solder on the one side. Now what about this guy? I'll come in this way. Okay, so now we've got a little bit more to work with there. But my guess is that I'm probably going to have to man, I wonder if I just cut it like I do the rest. I don't think I'm going to be able to get my snips in there, though. That's the problem. Let's try a little bit more braid. And see if maybe we can just kind of get the last little tiny bit of this, but I'm guessing since it's been so cooperative here. We're not going to be able to get that last little bit. Okay, it's a little burning now. End of the day, what I could just do, and what I'm probably going to end up doing, is just whacking it with a little bit of hot air and letting it fall out naturally, and that way I won't really overstress the vias. Rosin flux burns like no other. It's so gross. Yeah, we could see that bottom via is just straight filled with solder now. Okay. Is this top one wiggling now? Sort of. That's definitely not. Maybe that via is okay. I don't know. Do we? Maybe we hit it with some more fresh solder. Try it again. Kind of letting that soak through, but I don't think. Okay, that's not going how I like it. I think that top side's fine. It's just this bottom one that's being a real pain in the butt. Let's see if maybe we use a little bit thicker braid here. Of course, got to be able to freaking see. And that's the other problem. The board's all lopsided, so it's a little tricky to deal with right now. It is just not cooperating with me. I don't know why. Whack it with a little bit more flux, maybe? Okay, so I got a little bit more flux on there, but honestly, it should have been fine with what was there. I just can't get a good... The whole thing's just not heating up right. It's hard to explain. Like normally you would see that other side just liquefy too, but there we go. See how now we're good. But the issue is I don't think we're getting the stuff that's on the top side of the board. And so this leg isn't freeing up. Let me just try one whack with the solder sucker here. The issue is that I just don't really see it grabbing the rest of the solder out the hole. Okay, well, I either fucked up big time or nope. Okay, that's good. Now, I might just cut it? Can I just cut it? I don't think I can just cut it, unfortunately. I'm wondering if I can actually just pull it off. Now the problem here is that you really got to be careful when you do this, because if that solder is just not wetting for you, which I might end up just... Actually, now that I speak of it, let's just do this. Okay, so we got fresh solder in there. Thought... See, this is the effing problem with this thing being so stupid. I can't grip it because it twists the board. Okay, we got it. Took a while. Again, I'm just being overly effing cautious with these things, because this is a very, very, very expensive PCB. But we can see now we shouldn't have any damage, and this should now hopefully come up a lot quicker than before. Just do this. If I have to get it from the top side, I will. Which that looks like it's going to be the case. But the hard part's done. If I've got to clear out the through hole later, I will. I'm guessing that the top spot's just so gunked and fluid, it's acting as a insulator, thermal insulator, and not letting it wet down. But we can... Okay, good. Those were literally just test points, not pads. But yeah, you can see how that bottom one is just filled with solder still. So my guess is that we're just going to have to do it from the top side there, which is fine. Now we got to do its little brother, which is probably going to give us the same amount of headache. I got to find that on the board. I think it's... this guy right here. Yeah, you can see how that's all pretty gunky and corroded. This whole area I'm probably going to end up rebuilding by hand. I'm not looking forward to it, but I think I'm going to have to do it. And this one's not going to be fun to get to. Yeah, those two are definitely it. Definitely it. Alright, let's get you back in focus again here. So we said it was going to be these two right there. Now, I guess we might... Let's just do a little bit of flux. We're going to flood it with some fresh solder. I think I'm going to try the solder sucker on this one first, and maybe flood again, and then do some braid, or sucker and then braid. We'll see what we get here. This area is pretty... You can see it's pretty corroded. It doesn't want to wet down at all. Yeah. That unfortunately is going to be a massive headache for me, because I'm not able to get these to wet down. I might actually have to... Look at that. It is just... refusing. All right. So maybe I have to go a little bit higher. Let's try 400. If not, I could try that deoxit. That might actually be a good use of that. And see if that cleans off the corrosion on these things. Let's see if the little extra heat is going to help, though. Yeah, you can see how that corrosion is literally acting as a thermal insulator. So right now, that's not going to wet down, unfortunately. Might go grab that deoxit and give it a squirt and see what happens. We can see how see all that gray stuff floating in the IPA is just the corrosion. Which is most likely why I'm going to have to come in here all said and done and just that is so gross. Oh, look at all that. That's still filled with crap. Boy, this is really, really junky, huh? Guess these caps really were pretty bad. All right, will you wet down now? Wow. Let's spray with QRD first, huh? Hit that up with some electrical contact cleaner. See if maybe that'll kind of loosen some of the crud up, but my guess is no. I really don't like this stuff because it's pretty harsh chemical. Deoxit's not much better, but it does look a little bit better. Can't really say it's gotten it off, but it does kind of look a little shinier. Maybe. Well, let's see if it'll wet now. Somewhat, but not really. I can't really mix this with fresh. Is it? Did that take? Trying to let that just glug around, see if maybe. Okay. That's a little promising. I still think we're going to be fighting the crap out of this thing, though. We are right there. So let's try that again with the other guy. Could probably add some flux too, but let's see here. better. In fact, you can see that chunk off to the left there. Oh no. Oh, that might actually be the via that we're seeing. Never mind. I can't tell. Thankfully, these are not through-hole stuff. If it does get ruined, it's not too hard to repair, but I think that's what that was, honestly. Maybe? I can't tell. I really can't tell now. I mean, it's very possible because the area is so highly corroded that those vias just disintegrated, which would suck, but thankfully, where the leg is going is pretty self-evident. I think the via is okay. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure. We definitely have to be careful here. So add a little bit more flux in. We'll just try to get it to take a little bit more solder. This is a PC Engine LT, Mr. Average Joe. Welcome to the stream. A very highly corroded PC Engine LT. Okay, I saw the leg move there, so that's good. Alright, that took solder okay. That's a good sign. This side, do the same thing on. Okay, that took solder okay. Somewhat okay. Makes me wonder if I could get maybe a chisel tip on that, or I don't think. It's pretty hard to get a grip on these through holes. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I was thinking maybe I could just do the same thing and kind of let it fall out, but I don't think I'm going to get that lucky with this one. You can see though, the problem is that the braid I want to use is too thick for this area. Okay, so we'll go with a thinner braid, but well, did that fall to the ground? Might have fallen to the ground here. Okay, let's see. Might be able to get lucky. So if I come in here, I gotta get the actual braid. Okay. Okay, that's promising. And the via is intact, which is always good. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I like this camera a lot. It was a pretty big upgrade from my last one. So this does kind of feel like it wants to come out. A DM. What is a DM? Besides direct message. I don't know what that term means. Okay. It's the same, gonna be the same issue though. Okay, it is, well, the console itself is about 30 or so years old, and the capacitors exploded and leaked everywhere and damaged the board. So currently what I'm trying to do is remove all the old capacitors, clean the board, and then replace them with new capacitors. Look at that, came out just fine. So it's pretty common on these old handhelds to have the capacitors leak and corrode the board. It sucks, but kind of just an unfortunate fact of life. So first thing you usually do with them is do what I'm doing, which is pull all the crap off, clean it as best as you can, and then put new ones on. And hopefully things will start working again. Carbon tracking? What's carbon tracking? Might have to. Okay, well now my freaking soldering station decides it's gonna blow up on me. What the heck? Well, that's cool. So my soldering station just died, so I might have to cut stream early. What the hell? Okay, so the station's fine, but now my freaking handle doesn't want to work. Great. Well, this is fun. So that's fun. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it looks like my handle is shorting out. Let's go ahead and do some testing here. So I guess the tip I like to use is dead. Oh, yeah. In this case also electrolytic fluid is pretty... Wow, it must be the... Dang it, that sucks. The soldering tip just decided it wants to die on me. Try it again real quick. Okay, it's fine now. I gotta get a new handle for the soldering station. I must have knocked something out of alignment on it or something. It's fine now. Okay, well that's good. That scared me for a bit though. Alright, let's clean this area up. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to this from this side. Usually when this corroded solder is like that, I got to get it from the other side or flood it from the other side to mix it. And then I can clean it up. It's annoying, but I'd rather not overwork it. Oh, so I don't know. Honestly, it's just the tip was shorting out the soldering base, the actual station. So I just had to reseat it and it was fine. But the handle itself is kind of flimsy. I've already repaired it once. And it really just needs, I really just need to buy it the better handle. Because that one is a little bit more robust internally than the one that came with it. There's nothing really wrong with the one that came with it, but it's obviously it broke down on me a lot quicker than I was expecting it to. Trying to get all that old freaking crappy flux out of there if I can. The good news is that one trace is still intact, so got that going for me. Let's see, all this is just kind of how gunky this is now. Just want to clean this off. I don't know why it doesn't want to come up for me. Probably because it's like I can't get to it very easily. Come on. That'll be fine for now. Cool. Alright, so that's the two through holes gone. That should make my life a little bit easier now. I'm going to go get the other. Now we could take a look at the top of the board here. And zoom this out some. There we go. Wow. Yeah. You can see just how bad this stuff got. This is all this that I'm hitting with my mouse. Oof. No one could tell you why we say solder instead of salt and solder or solder. I don't know. It's just how I grew up saying it was solder. Because I guess just American dialect is, likes to use silent letters to confuse the crap out of people, I suppose. I'm not sure. But I do notice that gets brought up a bunch. And some of the British repair guys I like to watch, they go back and forth on solder and solder. Alright, so let's go get the CC505 here. Same thing, we're just going to snip this one off, so this one should come off a lot easier. Yeah, grungy doesn't even begin to describe it, man. It's pretty bad, but once again, the capacitors are pretty old. Alright, so this one's going to be kind of a pain, but since it's so tiny, it should come up pretty easy. Yeah, it's whatever. I mean, we could also say we don't understand why you guys spell flavor with a U. Alright, so let's see if we can get this guy up now. Might have to clip that one leg just a little bit more, but I think I got it. Maybe. And I'm gonna, before I rip that pad and make my life way more miserable than it needs to be, we will not contaminate with more metal. Okay. So I guess you're from the UK, Mr. Average Joe? So we got that. think that's all the caps. Nope. Let's grab this guy. I think we can get to this one pretty easy, huh? Let's see here. Oh, this guy right here. Yeah, that's right next to the fuse. Should be able to get to him pretty easy, though. I think. Can I get my snips in there? It's not exactly parallel, but close enough. It's a little cramped, but yeah, just work your way through. You should be able to get that one just fine. A whiskey YouTube Eve. What kind of whiskey you drinking? If I'm gonna drink liquor myself, I do enjoy a good bourbon or a good whiskey. I'm not a very big fan of scotch, but I do enjoy some whiskey. Okay, so that's the tricky section done. So now we're going to move over to the left side of the board here. And then we're going to grab this guy right here. So this is going to be kind of cramped, I'm thinking. But I should be able to get my snips in. Just worried about lateral forces here. Oh, that one was so corroded it had basically eaten through the bottom of it. You came across Louis Rossman on a weird eve, huh? Yeah, yeah. He's probably one of the most recognized repair guys on YouTube. I'm not a huge. I mean, he's a great tech. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing to say against the guy, but his content tends to not be stuff that I enjoy watching. But very, very competent person. Lots of people love him. Does a lot of work with Apple products, which I don't touch for the most part. Local bought Scottish whiskey. It is just fine. You know, hey man. Sometimes just fine is just fine. I always have a couple of flavors of whiskey on tap, and you don't always want to bust out the really expensive stuff all the time. So sometimes just having what I like to call a $20 bottle or social whiskey. Something for me like that would be probably in the lines of like Jack Daniel's Black, maybe a Bullet, which is not the worst but not the best, but you can mix it, you can shoot it, you can sip it. Okay, so this one's gonna be let's see, can I get to no. Well, this section is going to be a pain. Can I get to it this way? That's going to be a pain. I think I'm going to have to remove this guy first. And then this guy. And then these guys should be easier to get to. Might actually be able to do it from this side, though. Let's see about this guy right here. Might be able to. Yeah, okay. That's not good. I think I just ripped that trace. Well, shit. I got lucky. Okay, just broke the leg off. Yeah, him as a person's decent. him as a person is just decent. Yeah, he's a great guy, and he does a lot for the right to repair movement. He's recently started getting into kind of more activism. Might be a little bit strong of a word, but like he's lobbying for people now for the right to repair. So he does a lot of stuff that's very respectable. But I just as a content creator, I don't the stuff that he does just doesn't really interest me to watch a lot. So I don't really tend to watch him too often. I will though hit his channel up now and then because he does have some interesting topics that he likes to talk about. Okay. Got that. These are going pretty good. Pretty good. Now, I might be able to snip off both these in one go. Does not look like I did a good job there. This one's going to probably be kind of a pain to deal with. So I might just end up breaking the plastic on this one. Okay, there we go. There we go. Alright, and then we're gonna try to stop it from pinging off into Narnia there. Should be able to get it now. Okay, perfect. Oof. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Yeah. Well, politics is in the past, I'd say, almost decade now. Politics have really become more important in everybody's life. And, I've never really been much of a political person, but yeah, after the 2016 election in our country, it kind of woke me up to, you don't have to, I don't have to be a political pundit or like, whatnot, but it recognizing how important of a role it does play in our lives it was kind of an eye opener. And so I'm way more active in the political sphere than I used to be. I'm paying more attention to news and what's going on, and more active in my local politics, and it kind of woke me up to realize just how important that stuff is. It's kind of crazy because I've never really enjoyed it. I still don't really enjoy it, but I do find I have gained a bigger appreciation for it, and now that I realize how important it is, I do actively try to follow it more. But growing up, politics was pretty much a case of both sides being relatively the same. One side winning one battle, the other side winning another battle. Not much really changing, and then every 4 years you pick a new guy and start all over again. And that's kind of what politics was for me, but it's definitely a lot more important than that, or at least recently. Now that everybody's gone batshit fucking crazy, it feels like. And the weird thing is that it's so weird because I used to always be able to find common ground with everybody, and then I don't know, after Obama got elected, it really seemed to just get progressively crazier year by year. And now people are just batshit insane. Or the loudest voices are batshit insane. Guess that's a pretty distinctive, important distinction to make. Look at that, just not wanting to come up cleanly. I don't know. I mean, I know UK politics went pretty crazy for a similar time period as well. But you guys have your own problems too. religion and politics. There's a reason why it's the two topics bartenders never want you to get in discussions about. Okay. So we did okay in that one. Now we got to get this through-hole cap taken care of, and that's going to be fun. Because there's a whole... Oh, fuck my life, dude. And I hope that's just a non-pop, but... I think it's going to be these two guys right there. Where's the bigger ones? Right underneath it. Yeah, those guys right there. Okay, those aren't looking too bad, surprisingly. Boy, I hope nothing was there. Doesn't look like anything was there. Yeah, bush. Both bushes were pretty crazy, but they weren't the level of crazy that Trump is, and that's an important distinction to make. Now, I'm not saying that they were, angels by any mean, but the authoritarianism out of the Trump camp is very, very concerning to me. Problem with Bush was that, see, he was politically savvy where Trump is not, so he was more dangerous in the political spectrum because he could institute stuff that would and did damage our country for years. And Trump is just a moron. Always has been, always will be. See, this is the same thing. Might have to flood and redrain here, but... Okay, so let's just add some fresh leaded solder in there and try this again. Same effing thing. It's just that little tiny bit of corrosion just making everything miserable. Alright, let's let that soak through. Let that soak through. And we will try with components looking like bodges in the back end. What do you mean? I mean, it was not uncommon for them to actually do what you're talking about. They did a lot of factory bodge work because it was cheaper to just fix it by a wire than it was to redo an entire production line. But let's try this one again. Might try the solder sucker on this one as well. There we go. That's looking a little bit better. This might pull up pretty clean with the solder sucker. So let's go ahead and give that a try. much better. That pulled up pretty cleanly. I've got a little bit right here I need to take care of. Okay, that didn't work. But yeah, it's gonna be the same thing. I have let's try a bit of flux area again. That's very, very, very fresh solder braid. Let's see if maybe we could just pick up that last bit. What can you tell me what you thought looked like a bodge? Because I guess I don't see that. Still have. What did I do with my plastic thingy? Born in England with history going all over Europe. My family is part Italian, and we think my dad's side is Swedish, but we don't know too much about it. But I am a second generation American. My grandmother immigrated over here in the 20s. Okay. Now, I think I freed that up, so I should be able to. Yep. Yep. Just pop right on out. Do you still live in England? I got to visit Manchester once. I spent a night in London. And that is the extent of my European traveling, unfortunately. Although I really wish I could afford to go back, because traveling is something that everybody needs to do in their life, in my opinion. And it's one of the greatest things that you Europeans have is just how close everything is to y'all. So going to France and Spain and all that stuff is really not as big of an undertaking as it is for people in my country. And I will admit I am completely jealous about it, because I'd love to be able just to decide to go to random Eastern European countries and stuff. Okay. And obviously we're going to have to come back in here and do a serious clean, but looks like we got that off with very little to no damage, which is always perfect. Yeah, I'd have to know what you were looking at to think what was a bodge, because most of this is pretty standard to me, in my opinion. You know, just surface mount components. There's no real jump wires or anything like that. Just pretty standard components. What the hell is that? A solder ball? Probably just a test point. I just got hit with a little bit of solder, yeah. This all looks pretty standard to me. Yeah. It's kind of the areas that we were looking at. I know it's a little out of focus right now, but I don't know. Looks pretty standard to me, in my opinion. But if you can figure out what you were looking at, I'd gladly look at it for you and tell you what I think it is. All right, I think we'll go and do in the middle of the board. That would be these guys. So I think probably this guy to start, and this guy would be a good start as well. So we'll get these two taken care of first. I think we need to do it like that. And I can get my snips on in there. Okay. You can, some people do like to twist them. I think that puts a little bit too much strain on the pads, in my opinion, or has the potential to put too much strain on the pads. So I like to clip them. But I do know that people will kind of tell you to go and just kind of gently twist in one direction until everything comes off. I just think it's slightly more risky than what I'm doing. What is Urexbing in Eastern Germany? Is that a town? Not very familiar with that. Right. Maybe we can get the bigger guy first. Okay. I should be using tweezers to grab this. And this. Yeah, we could see how much clean. This is exactly why I wish I had an ultrasonic cleaner. Maybe I'll still go buy one. I don't know. Oh, urban exploring. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Eastern Germany, huh? Still, I think I'd like to visit Germany. I've had some German friends growing up, and actually one of my coworkers is from Germany. I think if I was gonna choose my next European vacation, I'd probably go to Italy. And I know a lot of people don't like it, but my family is very Italian. So I think that would be kind of cool in terms of more of like a know my roots type of thing. I know Italy is not usually looked very high upon. I'd really enjoy to go maybe like Amsterdam. I know there's some Eastern European countries that are also absolutely gorgeous as well, if not a little dangerous. I actually had a buddy who just got back from a Middle East trip over the summer to go watch his buddy get married, and he was in love with the place despite the fact it was pretty dangerous while he was there. But all right, so we got those guys pretty good. Now, guessing we can maybe get this little one. Yeah, the pliers twist does work. I won't deny. It is definitely a very valid method. But I just think it has the potential to cause more damage than this does. That being said, I have also torn traces with this method, but I've learned from those mistakes, and I've been generally pretty successful with it. I'm always a very big proponent of do what works best for you, and if you feel more comfortable twisting, then twist. There's really almost no one right way to do things. Um, Sometimes there is, but a lot of times you can kind of do whatever you feel most comfortable with, or maybe like in this situation, maybe a twist would have worked better because the area is so crowded that I can't get my snips in there very easily, and I have to twist. So yeah, knowing both is definitely a good tool to have in your kit. I can just see how, like, look at all this corrosion. This board's gonna probably have to like soak in some alcohol. Your family is Italian. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love my Italian heritage. I love my family for the most part. Um, but yeah, I love Italian food. Grew up with Italian speaking relatives. I knew my great grandmother, thankfully, and she and my grandmother both came over on the boat. So lots of really good history there. So I got that experience growing up, and I grew up in Philadelphia, which had a pretty decent Italian population. My family's from New York, which has a much higher Italian population. And I now live in Arkansas, which has a very little Italian population. But I love where I live. Country living every day over city living. That is my thing. Oh, my Italian is all zero, my friend. I used to be able to speak some very basic Italian when I was much younger, and ever since those relatives passed away, I kind of lost what little I did know. But it was never really much more besides like hello and I'm hungry and I love you and yada yada yada. Just real basic greeting and communication stuff. So didn't lose much, but I did lose what little I did have. I still remember a word or two though. Tried teaching myself it again a couple years ago, but it's just one of those things like learning a language requires dedication and time, and at that time I just did not have either. So okay, so now we're gonna have to figure it out. You have some problems with the guy from Arkansas? What guy is this, and why do you have problems with them? And again, I can say that I'm probably not that surprised. And a shag or two? Wow, this stuff is just kind of glad I got to this when I did. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that because Arkansas folks are, and they're pretty. I don't know, combative is a bad word, but shit. I have to find this capacitor, and I don't know. Is it this guy right here? No. We're here, so it's this section right here. So maybe. God, this is gonna suck. I think it is going to be in the middle there. So I think that capacitor is right here. Unfortunately, I'm just not gonna. Landlord, long story. Well, that makes a lot more sense. In Arkansas, the renters in our state have very little rights. God, I hope that's correct. So we have a lot of issues with landlords. Son of a biscuit. I don't know how I'm going to test this. So let's see here. Now, we do have, see, I don't want to desolder the crystal. That's right there. So do we have, so there's a 3. Let's look for this 3, right? Or is it 4? No, it's 3. Right there. So there's the 3. I still think I was right, but now the 3. Is there a... I don't see anything for the metal shielding. There's another 3 right there. That's that way, so it needs to go this way. So it's more in like this area. So I think I was right. I think it is going to be this guy right here. Let's see about that. Maybe we could get the solder sucker in there. I'm not sure. It's kind of a shitty area. Very, very compact in here. Kind of worried about that capacitor. Can I? Yeah, I might be able to make this work. Okay. Now, the question remains, can I get to that? Let's see here. Wondering if I can use my thin braid and get in there. No, there it is. Okay, so I keep losing it. Let's chop up some fresh braid here. This is the Goot Wick. This is the Goot Wick. I don't know where my other stuff went. More of a fan of that, to be quite honest. But let me just see if I can maybe get in there. Okay. All right, that ended up being not too bad. Makes me wonder if... kind of the problem with this. Food for thought. Last week you're confused about a spot on the board. Rerun the video and the flaw in the PCB was not there. Hello, hello. I don't even know what spot you're talking about, unfortunately. Was it on the board I'm working on now, or is it on the Neo Geo? Because I was doing a lot of Neo Geo work last week. I don't think I used a soldering iron on the LT last week. Okay. So let's maybe just try that again here. Sure. Yeah, if you want to find me a timestamp, I'll go take a look. Because sometimes those missing components can be very important. Sometimes not. But I'm kind of anal about that, and that I really would much rather have everything be there that should be there. Okay. So I'm thinking we've got a little bit of solder left on that, but okay, so trying to find. Okay, so this guy is good. It's the other one that's not, huh? Okay. So let's find you again. So that's the other side, that top side that still needs a little bit of love. Okay, so this guy is still somehow hooked in. Maybe I can grab my tweezers here and we could push him through. Sometimes that's really all you need to do. Sometimes not. It's an awkward spot, so I can't heat. Oops, don't. Oh, fuck. LED, I'm bending the LED again. I'm wondering if maybe I just put a little bit of pressure on it. I might just flood it again with some fresh solder. Okay, so definitely still connected. It's not a digital multimeter. I'm sorry, Joe. This is a PC Engine LT. It is a handheld video console released by NEC and Hudson in the very early 90s. Okay. Still think they're going to be stuck in there, huh? Let us try this here. I think we could do this method. Try this, and if this doesn't work, we'll just hit it back again with some braid. So sometimes what you can do, maybe we can try with the there we go. Sometimes that fresh leaded solder really does make your life a lot easier. Okay, so now if I come in with the goot wick here. What is a cyber deck? I've never heard of that. And the answer to that question is no, because I actually don't know what you're referring to. But would love to know. I do like to build things. Yeah, so many of these areas are just, they just have a tiny bit of solder that refuses to cooperate with me. Let's clean this up a little bit here. But came up pretty good. Came up pretty good. Now we can flip it over and get the rest of them out. See what the area looks like up here. Not too bad, honestly. Not too bad. Okay, so we'll just keep on keeping on. All right, we got this guy to get. Now, that was the top of it. I do not have a Discord server, no. I should probably start one up, but I don't know how much time I would have for it. You guys are probably honestly my largest audience I've had in weeks, so I guess I haven't really felt the urgency to go create a Discord server. I'm part of Discord servers, but yeah, I don't have my own. But maybe I should go ahead and create one. Really no harm, I suppose. Okay, got that out. Yeah. Yes, that cyber deck does sound pretty cool. I've had on deck. I've had this build I've been wanting to do for a year now. Actually, now we're definitely at a year. I got it last November, and then I just never found the time for it, and I've just been doing other things. But I'm gonna be building a Nintendo, a modern Nintendo by hand, and I'm looking forward to that because that's gonna be pretty cool. It's modern PCB and modern passives and all that, and it does use the actual CPU and PPU from a Nintendo, so it's a legit Nintendo. It's not a FPGA device. So I've had that sitting in a box for a literal year now, and I just have not gotten around to it. So maybe we could change that. thinking I might end up doing that one right around Christmas time because I'm going to be taking a vacation. I flung that thing off to Narnia and I have no idea where it's at. So this one is going to be tricky as heck to get to. Let's see here. I might have to break my rules here because I don't think I can get... I don't think I'm going to be able to get my snips in. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tricky in this one, but I'm going to try. There we go. Problem with PC stuff. I mean, I'd take a look at it, see what the cost was, but I have a pretty powerful desktop because I am a gamer, so my PC is pretty decent for, well, it's probably a little outdated now, but pretty decent. So it's hard for me to. I'd rather spend money on PC stuff on that because I have been looking into upgrading it, and it's going to cost me probably well over $1,000 now to do what I want to do. So my PC budget's going to probably be relegated for that. But I'll look into it because I always love to have projects to have on deck because lately the eBay repair game has been a little weak. Been not having the greatest luck. And so I've been trying to find other things to do because, quite honest, I don't mind every once in a while getting skunked on things, but when you're just throwing away money, it starts to get a little old pretty quick. Alright. This guy is a little bit of a pain in the butt, but there we go. Okay. These are gonna be a freaking nightmare to solder back on, I'll tell you what. Yeah, what are you currently running as your system, Wes? I know Baldur's Gate's pretty resource intensive. All right, Average Joe, you out of here? It's definitely good having you. If you are, please stop by. I will be back tomorrow around 11 noon Central Standard Time, and I do stream every Saturday and Sunday at the same times. Try to anyway. I was a little late today, but I slept in like a motherfucker because I was exhausted from my week. So, and I didn't get to bed till like 3 a.m. last night because I was playing Counter Strike all night. So, yeah, little tired today. All right, let's get these 100 microfarads off. This is very cramped in here. So, kind of just working my way in. Still see that little black insulator still hooked around there. Pull that off. I might be able to just pull this straight up, but I don't think so. No, definitely not. Are you heading out, Meow? All right, it was nice to meet you, man. Hope to see you back sometime. I will definitely look up that cyber deck. I think I'm going to actually remove this through hole cap first. It does seem... I think it's going to be these guys right there. Okay. We're going to just try again with the solder sucker. This does feel... This one feels a little less corroded than the other through holes were, so maybe I'll get lucky here and this will just come up with no issues, huh? I don't think we're going to get that lucky, but I can already see a little bit of solder stuck to that. Yeah, and that one's going to need some braid. So we'll go ahead and just bring in some braid. Actually, I'm going to probably put more solder in that hole. That one didn't seem like it mixed very well. That might be the corroded side. Okay. Let us get some flux going on in here. And in here. And let's see if we can maybe clean these holes up. So okay. Doing better, but still not where I need it to be. Okay, so what do we need to do here? Do I need to approach it like this? Maybe try. Let's go ahead and get some clean braid. Oh. I may have actually just used up all my goot wick. Neat. Getting to the end of it anyway. Thankfully, I've got a whole box full of new braid that I picked up a couple weeks ago, so that's good. This Gootlick's lasted me feels like a lifetime, to be honest. Most braid does. Okay, that might have worked there. So let's try for this side. I might end up reflowing this one with more fresh solder. Let's give it a good old wiggle test now and see if we can't pop it on out. These things are in just such awkward spots on this board that my normal methods for removing through stuff is just not going to apply here. Okay, I'll try maybe just flooding it with fresh solder again. Alright. Okay, so this is starting to get a little junky. And I'm going to need to try this again here. Let's just make my life a little easier and try to clean that soldering iron tip off. Okay, I got most of it. Still looks like a resolder to the side there, but nope, there we go. Came on off. Alright, then we'll just double check, make sure no massive damage. I might have had a little tiny bit of via damage there, maybe. But otherwise, it's looking pretty good. Nothing to be overly concerned about. Just get some IPA on the area so I can just make sure and double check my damage. Okay, yeah, we're good. That maybe lift now? No, it just looks like it lifted, I think, because of the... Yeah, we're fine. All the surrounding components are still intact. So, really nothing to complain about there. Flip her on over and take a look. And pretty good, honestly. That cap was not too bad. So, now we can just continue on. A little bit more room to work with. Gotcha. Okay, now. A little more focus in the area. Probably gonna have to take care of that. Okay, alrighty. Perfect. Got that taken care of. And then 2 more left. Now these, I've got to come in from this side. Okay. Came off pretty easily. And then we'll just, while we're here, let's grab this guy. Look at all that fluid. We're gonna clean that off over here. I'm gonna come through real quick afterwards and clean anyway, and we're gonna want to recap everything. We'll get to clean again, so you know, lots of cleaning will be done. We're not going to get to that part today. It does not look like we're going to get that far, but we are going to set ourselves up for success tomorrow, and we'll do the recap then. But I really wanted to get them off today, and I was planning on getting everything done today, but like I said, I woke up way too late, and I like to, on the weekends, really kind of take my time in the morning and just enjoy it and drink some coffee, watch some YouTube, wake up. I've never been the type that can get up and go. I need a ramp up period, so to speak, and I don't really want to change that because I enjoy not having to instantly turn on and go do things. That reminds me a lot of the work week where I have to instantly turn on and go do things. And thus concludes the decap. Let's say the decap we have removed. So right now I'm gonna grab myself a couple of fresh cotton swabs. I think we're just gonna very gently go over all the areas where caps used to be, and try to clean up as much of the fluid as we can. Anywhere that I saw brown, let's look even down like here. It's kind of yeah. So I think what you're talking about was when I resoldered on the RGB encoder, and that one trace was like, yeah, I couldn't remember if it was corroded off or if I had broken it with a soldering iron. I think I know exactly what you're talking. That I do kind of remember, and no big deal. I just like to kind of like pay attention for that type of stuff so that like I learn from my mistakes, you know what I'm saying? So like it's okay to make mistakes, and you know there are very few things that you can do to a PCB that can't be repaired with some jump wire. But it's always good to not damage your PCB. So, you know, I try to learn from those. You know, did I use too much heat? Did I use too much pressure? Did I not use enough of something? You know, whatever the case might be, you know. And That way when I go do another, I'll know what to do. So, you know, that's why I always tell people, don't ever be afraid of screwing up. I mean, you don't want to, especially like stuff that I'm working on right now, or this unit, all said and done, if I get this working, now I'm not saying mine's going to be worth this much, but they can sell for upwards of $3,000. And this one's in a little bit rougher shape, so I'm thinking I probably at best could maybe hope to get something like 2,500 or a little bit less than that if I decided to go sell it. But this is a holy grail item for me, and I would most likely be buried with it if I had my say. I don't really have any interest in selling this one. This one I want to kind of show off is I've got this and you don't, so I'm better. Not really, but it is definitely a very, very much a pretty desired collector's item for PC Engine fans. Hey man, that's what life's all about, dude. You know, you don't learn from your successes. And you might learn, well, you learn that you succeeded. But for me, and I'm guessing you're kind of maybe in the same boat, I learn more from my failures. Just without a doubt in my mind, I learn way more from my failures than I do from my successes. And nobody likes failing. You know, it hurts. You're very familiar. You are very familiar with those, and I am too. I am also an addict. It's pretty rare this day to not meet someone who isn't, but you know, I mean, ain't no shame in it, bud. As long as you kind of correct those mistakes and learn from them. You know, you're going to stumble at some point probably, but that's okay. Right, let's try to clean this again a little bit more. Elvis, I'm saying this right, Adaraga, very nice to meet you. Welcome, welcome. Some things don't have a pricing. You are absolutely correct. You know, everybody will say everything's got a price, but some things like this are priceless to people. This is priceless to me. This is something that I've always wanted ever since I learned of their existence. So it is, you know, like someone was asking me what I would sell it for, and I told them that 3,000 would be what would get me thinking about it. But oh, look at that! I missed this capacitor right here. Honestly, I'm not gonna sell it. Okay, so I completely missed a capacitor, which is gonna be these two guys right here. So let's go and see about getting that guy out. Okay. So I think we're just going to do the flood and drain method here. Well, I hope you're doing well today, Elvis. It was very nice to meet you. I don't think I've seen you pop through my humble little channel before, so welcome, welcome. I am working on a PC Engine LT that was very highly corroded. Okay. That's going to need way more work. I think we do have yeah, we're dealing with some corrosion here in this one. Faux show dealing with some corrosion. Let's flood this again. I'm going to probably have to use braid on the other one. that. We'll mix in a little. There we go. Get that leg wiggling. All right. Try it one more time here. My guess is. All right, that's better. Okay, I got that one. So let's try a little bit more fresh solder on this one. There we go. Kind of get that leg to wiggle a little bit, seep on down below the surface level. That's PCE 8-core, 4.2 with 16 gig, 1080 Ti. So the bottleneck in your system right now is most likely the 1080 Ti with Baldur's Gate. It's not a huge deal, but you're lagging a little bit behind in the GPU department. 8-core 4.2, so your third generation Ryzen. Thermal would help problems with overheating, but it won't really get you any extra speed unless you are being thermal throttled, in which case you've got other issues. But my guess is that your GPU bottlenecked right now, and you need to move up to like a 20 series or a 30 series GPU. Which I know might be a lot easier said than done. I get that. GPUs are stupid freaking expensive these days. It sucks. It really sucks, but kind of is what it is, you know. Not much you can do about it. Dang it, what do I do with my last one? There it is. But I used to... Man, let me tell you, I've been building PCs since the late 80s, and these days it is so unbelievably easy. It's not even funny, and it doesn't take much time to kind of get yourself back up to speed, and there's so many awesome resources available that just didn't exist before. That it really makes building a new one a lot easier. But I would suggest, if you're not familiar, go look up a YouTube channel called Gamers Nexus. I think they also have a website as well. And pay attention to what he says. He gives their channel, or Steve in particular, tests components in a way that nobody really else does. Now, this one's a really, really awkward spot. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, it's that left leg, huh? Let's see if maybe I can just do it this way. Otherwise, I'm going to have to put some... There we go. I think that should do it. Last one pulled. I wanted to see the bottom of this one. Yeah, look at that. Oof. Thing just exploded. Oh, no, man. You're fine. Let me tell you, they literally... Okay, write this down. There is a website and it's called PCPartPicker.com. You can just Google that. Just Google PC Part Picker, and you can literally search and add components and build a virtual machine, and it will tell you if anything you picked out is incompatible. And then you could take that list, and I mean they do offer, they will kind of search all the big boys like Newegg and Amazon and try to find you the best deal in parts, but you could take that list and do your own shopping if you want. But it's pretty hard to screw things up these days. Everything's like color coded and very, 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 very user friendly. Shit, is that a rotten trace? Well. No, that's just a via. Oops. Okay. But yeah, for real, it's never been easier to build a PC. And I mean, at the end of the day, too, YouTube and Discords and all that stuff. There's a wealth of resources to use, and I highly suggest utilizing them. It's no longer the black magic that it used to be. Part of me kind of misses that because it made you look like more of a badass when you built a computer, because not everybody could do it, but it's honestly a lot better the way it is now. I won't try to lie. I kind of damaged the PCB there a little bit with the heat, but we're alright. That's all ground plane anyway. We're good. We're Gucci. Alright, so now I could pull this. Now, so you can see here just how gross and grody this area is. But I can get a toothbrush in there now. That transistor is just oof. Sure. I mean, there are, just because it's easier doesn't mean there aren't pitfalls. That's for sure. And there are some things might happen that require some research, like BIOS issues and maybe not configuring your XMP for your RAM correctly. Yeah, there's things that can happen for sure. I won't try to sugarcoat things, but for the most part, it's pretty hard to screw things up, and as long as you're not like mangling your CPU during installation, it's kind of hard to blow things up these days. It'll either work or it won't. It's kind of how things are configured. So you do got that going for you, which, believe me, is a lot better than it used to be, where if you screwed something up, you might fry your CPU or whatnot. So, well, actually, that cleaned up a lot easier than I was expecting it to. Let's go ahead and, I can't tell if that on that plastic that's goo or not, but we got that nice and shiny again. And you can see how it ate away at some of that PCB mask off to the left there. But everything did clean up pretty good. Now, same thing though, we're going to probably come in here with a Q-tip in a second. Trying to get as much of this fluid off as I can. This board is so freaking tight though. You can see like what I'm picking up. I just want to make sure I get all these crowded spaces. Probably clean this again, maybe. with the stiffer brush. This area was probably one of the worst ones for wear. So let's just go ahead and keep scrubbing. And yeah, and you know, bro, alcohol is probably one of the hardest things to fucking quit next to nicotine, because anything that's socially acceptable and widely available and legal can be pretty hard to say no to. It took me a long time to quit smoking cigarettes. I think I quit tobacco in 2013 and switched to vaping, and then it was 2018 when I finally quit the vaping. So it took a while. But yeah, I'm the same way, man. I mean, I've slipped up. I mean, I managed to quit my addiction once, and then a couple years later, I slipped and took a couple more years of my life, and finally got myself back on track after an unfortunate experience with the police. So, you know, like I said, I learned from my mistakes, and that's not a mistake I'm really willing to make again anymore. So ever since then, I've been pretty much on the up and up. So I think that's more fluid. I'm gonna probably get in there. Maybe take this brush now. You can see all the how that one's got a little bit of solder left. Same thing right here, solder left. So I'm gonna have to come up tomorrow and use braid from this side, but thankfully looks like they're marking the positive side with a dot, so that's good to know. I'm sure, just double check on this one, but I think that copper trace is okay. This looks a little grungy, but I think if I touch here, no. I'm in continuity mode, which beeps when our probes have a direct path, so I should have a beep here and then here. Yeah. So I still have good continuity. Sure, once I get a little bit of solder on this, we'll be alright. Thankfully that's, well, I could repair that, not easily, but I could repair it, and that other side is just a ground. But I think if I flip this over, just keep my thumb right there. So there was a via. Which via though? It's closer towards the voltage regulator. So right above. So there's the voltage regulator. And I think what that was saying to me was, I do believe if I had to, absolutely had to, I could attach this to this. Yeah, or this capacitor, or that leg directly, either or. That looks like where that goes. Okay, so we got that section decent for now. And then we've got a couple, over here to take care of. You can see how gross this area is as a whole. Look at that. Oh, that's just so gross. So let us try and clean this up. Now, probably should have pulled these off too. It would make this a little bit easier, but we'll do that tomorrow. Because I have replacements for those power jacks, so they're going to go anyway. Kind of focus now is just mainly more to... I don't want to leave the fluid, especially if there's any additional that leaked out after I cut the caps. I don't want to leave that. I'd rather just get it up now. And hopefully deal with a lot less dead fish smell tomorrow. And you're going to hear me whine all morning about how bad it stinks, because it's probably one of the worst smells in the world, in my opinion. It's kind of why I hate doing recap jobs, because you guys smell like dead fish for a couple hours. It's great. In case you all were not paying attention, that is a level of sarcasm that might be undetectable, because it is horrible and I hate it and it's awful, but nothing you can do but complain and then power through it. Alright, so we should have gotten most of that. I think tomorrow or tonight, I'm going to see if I can go out and pick up some of those, like, toothbrushes, that gum flossers, I think they're meant to call it. I don't know, picks, there's a name for them, but they're these little soft toothbrushes that are meant to go in between your teeth. And that would be perfect for spots like this right here. It's pretty cramped and I can't get the toothbrush too well in there, but I can jam it down hard enough. And obviously the soft bristles aren't going to hurt anything. Still want to be careful. Okay. Alrighty. So for now it looks to be okay. For now. Tomorrow will be a different story, but let us focus on this area. This is the controller. That handles all the controller stuff. And they are also another obsolete part that there is no modern replacement for, so definitely want to be careful with it. Make sure it's in good shape. I mean, you could, if you had a spare PC Engine GT, pull one off of that, but that's a $300 console that, oddly enough, I actually do have. I won't call them spares, but if I had to pull it, I could. No one's come up with a modern replacement for yet, I don't believe. And I don't think there's any NOS hood available. I did look at one point to see if I could find it, but to not much luck, to be quite honest. Alright, so I'm going to try my toothbrush here. I'm probably going to have to do my stiff bristle brush, but this should work for gross cleaning. Probably questioning if I should lift that crystal up. I think we'll be okay though. Scrubbing that a little there. Hope that variable resistor. Hopefully I didn't wang on that too hard. Alright, let's get this back on the blue mat. The contrast is a lot more agreeable. Quite honest here. Alright. Looking pretty good though. I'm not seeing too much brown goop around. I still see a little bit on that IC right there. Just keep scrubbing it. it right there. Let's just grab my other brush for that one, I think. So I will be able to, yeah, see. For anybody who's watching, this is just an acid brush that I cut most of the bristles off of. And it kind of lets you get into tight spaces, and by cutting the bristles, things are a lot stiffer, so it does scrub better. The big downside is that you will start shedding those nylon fibers a lot, so you gotta make sure you clear them out of the way before you go solder anything. They won't hurt. See, like right there, those are all nylon fibers. They won't hurt anything, but when you go solder them, you don't want to melt them, because that will stink and also probably make your life miserable. But okay, I think we're kind of back to the start. I mean, honestly, it's looking, look at this flux right there. Not looking too bad. Did clean up all the fluid there, and all those traces look good. Well, these are all the main ICs, 6260 and 60. I think this is the 6270 is a CPU, and the 60s are the graphics units. Now, this is why they claim that the PC Engine was 16-bit, because it has 16-bit graphics, because it has two 8-bit graphics processors. They did get in some trouble for it because it wasn't a true 16-bit system, blah, 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 blah. Nobody really cared except for people on the Western world, because in Japan, this was a very, and still remains a very popular system. But in the States, where it was known as the TurboGrafx 16, it didn't really catch on very well, and then it was embroiled in the bit wars of the early 90s, and some of the claims came into questions about whether or not it was true 16-bit or not. Kind of like what happened with the Jaguar. But that's why the graphics in the PC Engine are much better than their 8-bit counterparts, because they're 16-bit graphics. And they did things on the PC Engine that we didn't really start to see until the Super Nintendo was a thing. Like parallax scrolling and animated backgrounds and just better colors and yeah. Okay. I mean, you know, at this point, let's take another quick tour of the board under the microscope. Just wanted to make sure there wasn't really any brown goop left floating around. That is either going to be, yeah, just a bit of plastic, looks like. Okay. So tomorrow when I come in here, I'm going to basically go through all these pads. We're going to desolder all these legs, and then I'm going to resolder them and then wick them and then put the capacitors on. Oh, see that we don't have the luxury of the dot, but I think we could infer that the square back is going to be the negative side. And on my capacitor map, they do have the polarity marked, because electrolytic capacitors have polarities. So you got to keep that in mind. Other than that, I'm just going through the board here. We'll clean this cartridge or the extension port up better. That pad ended up being not so bad. Lost a little solder mask. It's a little corroded. I might hit that with some deoxit. Might hit this up with some deoxit. really wish I had an ultrasonic cleaner, because that's probably what I should be doing. It's also kind of hard to throw a $2,500 PCB into an ultrasonic cleaner. But we're all the way back down to the start here. And again, like I said, there's just no massive amounts of brown gold. You can still kind of see like a little bit of discoloration, but that could either just be solder mask that kind of slightly got eaten away from the fluid, or trick of the light. I'll just take a look at the back of the board here. Oh, you can see most of this is pretty fluxy, it looks like. So again, this is kind of why I want that ultrasonic. I'm still thinking about it, but I also bought myself a couple. I bought another Neo Geo yesterday with for me anyway, a very low serial number of 15K. So I spent a little bit of money on that I probably shouldn't have, and I'm also thinking about buying another 2 Neo Geos, which have some attractive prices to them. But I don't know. I'm still going back and forth on that one. I'll be really, really, really honest. I don't need to do it, but they're so affordable that I kind of want to do it. So look at that. It's all kind of pitted right there. So I might end up just doing that. Screw it, right? It's just money, and I could stop buying them to sell, so at the end of the day, I could probably at the very least recoup my costs on them, no problem. Not that worried about it, but just saw some brown in this area that was not making me too happy. So I'll just soak some of this up. But you know, I mean, at the end of the day, that's RAM right there. Now I did figure out that these light blue guys were in fact resistors. They're just from a different manufacturer with most likely a higher tolerance, according to people who are far smarter than I am. Let's see, there's that right there, which I think is just dust. Yeah, just crud. So that's looking okay, and I think that's just fresh alcohol. Okay. So no real fluid there to be worried about. That's concerning. That's concerning. Well, I sure hope there wasn't any capacitors there, which I don't think there was. Everything else in the area looks fine. Probably just non-pops. If I have to dig through my video, I will. My guess is that they're most likely going to be the same values as these guys are. But judging from the fact that they're pretty flat, I'm just thinking it's... Yeah, they're non-pops, but fuck if I know, honestly. I have no idea. They very well could have been capacitors that got eaten away and just dropped off, but again, I didn't really have any components floating around. We look good. I think I'm okay with this, honestly. Yeah, I don't even know anymore. It might be alcohol, it might be fluid, so let's just go ahead and assuage any doubt. Now I know it's definitely alcohol. But I think we're good. I think we are good. I don't think there's anything left for me to do today. And that is probably for the best. But I'm very, very happy with the way this came out. We've had 0 rip pads. Struggled slightly more with the through holes than I was expecting, but minus the fact that we're going to have to come through and just clear out a couple of solder, or vias, excuse me, or through holes. For the most part, it's looking okay. I guess this is just some sort of like support for that extension. I could just solder it and end up replacing that with some fresh solder. I don't know. We'll probably spray some deoxin on it instead. See if that cleans it up for me. But man, we went through some Q-tips today too. Good. Good. All right. Well, yeah, I don't really think there's much else to do here. Because today was all about decapping. And if I had enough time, I was going to recap, but it is 4:38 p.m. for me right now. And I think I'm just going to go kind of enjoy the rest of my early evening and get some dinner planned and play some games with my buddies. And then tomorrow, I won't be sleeping until damn near 11:30 in the morning, and we'll get back to this first thing. I do have plans to clean up that Neo Geo. Oh shit! What the heck just happened? I lost my webcam for some reason. Hold on a second. Bring you back up, maybe? There we go. Weird. Well, there she blows. That's after solid 4 hours, 3.5. Sorry. I've been live for 3 hours and 13 minutes, and it took me that long to decap and clean. You know, it is what it is. It is not happy about something, huh? Nah, this is the way I do this is so weird. It could be this. You're not wrong. It could be this USB cable here, but it's been kind of finicky on me. Let's try this. I really kind of want to sell this thing and move with something else, but here's the board. Looking pretty good. No cap, no brown gunk. That's the back side. Nope, there it goes again. What the heck is going on? See, it's back. Okay, well, I'm just going to take that as a sign, folks. It is a sign. Yeah, it's, I don't know. Like I said, I've got some wonkiness in my setup. This is a Canon. What is it? Is it an M50 Mark II? I think is what it is. It's a great camera, but for what I want to do, it's just not. I don't know. I'm making it work, and I shouldn't have and I'm thinking about just selling it and then getting something a little bit more versatile for streaming. Computer Booter has a overhead cam that's very, very affordable and much better digital zoom and all this other stuff. So I think I'm going to look into that and then get my money back for this thing and go on from there. But, well, we'll see. So, yeah, man, I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate everybody who stopped by. Thank you, anybody, for comments, likes, follows, subscribes in the future. If you are watching this later on, I do appreciate it. I do stream every Saturday and Sunday. I like to start at 11 a.m. or noon Central Standard Time. I do try to do mods on Saturdays and repairs on Sundays. However, lately it's been more like repairs on both days, so stop by if you like either. And maybe you'll catch me doing one or the other. I will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Hopefully 11 a.m. We will continue with the PC Engine LT, and hopefully by tomorrow I will have it fully recapped and maybe working. And if we get that going and I have enough time, we'll start looking at the Neo Geo again, but most likely just focus on the LT for the rest of the day tomorrow. So I hope everybody out there has a wonderful rest of their evening. And if I don't see you here tomorrow, I hope you have a great week. And hopefully I'll see you here next weekend. So, all right, guys, well, enjoy your night like I'm going to go enjoy mine. As soon as I can find my mouse here, we could end the stream, and you guys have a good one. Talk to you later.